is already a little bit overdue, so I will get started. And it's a great talk from Dan about AGL. By the way, we are also a member of AGL. It's here. It's not appear in Dan's slides, so I will get started. I will talk about automotive, kind of different perspective. Not from technical, not from open source, but from, I don't know, everywhere maybe, from China. So, previous topic is about just the Linux-based infotainment. Then I took the liberty to actually expand the topic to a broader topic, smart car. It's not that general. Later I will put more details here. So I'm from Thundersoft. I'm running the technical group. We're also a member of Linaro. Actually, it's 96 boards for IoT. But I'm here talking about automotive. Is because in terms of our financial data, we're a public company, so I can talk about this a little bit. Actually, automotive is growing much faster than IoT. I have to say that, although we're a member of 96 board of IoT. So you can make a lot of money for automotive at this stage, although IoT is the future, but it takes some time. So a little bit advertisement, but this is also important for the later introduction. We're founded about 9 years ago. Headquarters Beijing. We're from Beijing, but we also have office in Korea, Japan, US in Milpitas and San Diego, and also Europe. Actually, related to automotive, this region will be very interesting, especially to us, will be China. Later, we'll talk about what's going on in China, and Japan, and US there, and Europe. For US, I don't know, but I will talk about these three first. Because we're doing, from day one, we're focusing on operating system and platforms. The mobile, especially the mobile operating system like Android, Linux, or iOS. So we work with many SoC vendors and also many operating system vendors. Actually, we're very close to those partners. So-called, some of them are actually our investors, for example, like Qualcomm, ARM, Spreadtrum, and also, interestingly, Intel, also our investors. Very small share, so they do not know what we're doing. Under 4%, for sure. So we're neutral, totally owned by the executives and the founders. So now we have 3,000 people. Among them, 300 people working on automotive. Actually, for IoT, we used to have 200, now we have 100 for a reason that I mentioned before. So IoT is not taking off as fast as what we expected, but automotive does. And we won IPO, as mentioned, 2 years ago. And currently, we have 4 BU, actually, all related. Like one, we started from automotive, from mobile, tablet, and smartphone. And then IoT, and then smart automotive, which is the major topic. And I will also talk about AI. We also have a BU because it seems to us any topic is not complete without talking about AI. So we'll talk about that also. So a little bit history. History also important is because is how we see about this open source development. The founders from this company, including myself, actually from those open source community in China, from NEC, actually the first adopter of Linux for server, and also you may not recognize the Chinese, but it's the red flag. Linux is not that accurate, but it's actually counterpart of Red Hat in China. It's a Chinese version of Red Hat. If you read that way, it's fine. And sometimes we did that, substitute Red Hat to Red Flag. sometimes cause some crash because you have actual character. Sometimes you have to crash the system. But anyway, so we found it here actually, but our first project is actually MID. Actually, our first product is actually the car product. Is iron mined. It's aftermarket running Linux and MIMO. If you remember, that's how this started. Tizen actually derived from actually MIMO from Nokia, and that's how we started. Also, we started with it looks like actually Apple iPhone. That's for some good reason for that. Actually, we did a demo for Intel 2007, right after, just 1 or 2 months after the launch of iPhone. And actually, we actually received some letter from Apple saying it looks too similar. Actually, it is similar. But it's running Linux. It's running Linux and MIMO. And then we do the reference for smartphone. Then we do IoT, automotive. Now we have more projects. But this is a road of open source, and among this more than 10 years of works, we learned something about open source and also about the business. Later, I will see how this is reflected to the automotive industry. I will pass this. So basically, the business model is we have some IP, security, optimization, vision, and graphics, all related to automotive. Very important, especially safety. But actually, safety probably the last things we are doing. A lot of talks about that, but the last things are done. But a lot of optimization, that's for real, and a lot of ADAS stuff, and also audio, especially audio and video enhancement for automotive. And then we build on this IP, some from us, some from third party, and organize them together into a solution, and then deliver through our services. So very, very simple. You can view us as a outsourcing company or consulting company or integrator, but we view us more like a open source enabler. So we enable open source pieces into something like this. So automotive. So you can see similar to a smartphone, like Dan mentioned. A car, actually, in our opinion, is just a smartphone with wheels. So actually, it's like that. It's going to be something like that. And so that's why we entered the automotive business about 3 years ago. It's almost 3 years ago. And so we provide, we started with IVI, but now we provide not just IVI, but also a smart cockpit, which means we're also handling the cluster and other real-time stuff. Later we'll have more details. And we cooperate with all these partners, chipset vendors, OS vendors, real-time system like QoS, or Linux, including AGL, and a lot of Android as well. And also a lot of IP, a lot of internet company, also very important, especially in China. And we combine all these things together and create a solution and deliver to two types of customers, tier ones and car makers. As Dan mentioned, the car makers actually feel a little bit uncomfortable these days, because before they are talking with tier one, and tier one provide hardware and some very standard, sometimes very standard software to them. And then, but nowadays, with all this internet or connected or smart technology they can see in the smartphone, they view, oh, I cannot rely on these tier ones, most tier ones anymore, because most tier ones are just hardware engineers, and most engineers in car makers are just mechanical engineers. But the future is the software. So where can they find those software talents? They either talk to some of them, or they talk through them with some company like us. So that's how we do the business. And then this is what we provide currently. We provide info ADAS. We provide some UI, 3D UI for both cluster and IVI. And also they're all connected. And then we provide the so-called smart e-cockpit total solution. Combine all this together. And I mentioned a little bit the China factor because it's very important because in that direction, not just internet, like e-commerce, like Alibaba, yeah, right? The founder actually currently in Canada, and they delivered some speech about how they are growing more business in China, in US, actually Canada. We think we're in somehow a little bit more advanced in that fashion, in e-commerce, but also in this car industry, we're a little bit more aggressive, which means we can tolerate some nice security for better or more connected car for consumer and government. Actually, if you talk to maybe to Chinese customer, actually they only care about two things. It's a joke, actually. One is whether the API or the cluster is fancy, and the number two is whether the seat is good. So we're the number one, probably the number one customer who cares about the car seat more than Western.
Question for you?
Yes.
So on your
yes.
On your cluster design wins
yes.
or previous business, have
yes.
you had any functional safety requirements in those?
Yeah. Not through us, I have to say. Currently through the QNX.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are the value-added reseller of QNX for good reason, because QNX, we think the architecture, in our opinion, is good, and the microkernel very clean, and also pretty good market share, and ecosystem also about 50% for this, especially cluster. Another 50% probably Greenhill, and so it's much easier, I have to say, to deal with QNX. I don't know, but even for that sense, still a hard time for the customer to deal with the QNX. It's a very, how to say, bad support. That's why we work together to fix that. So we plus Thundersoft plus QNX provide good support, good secure software, real-time system, including Hypervisor, and pass all this like EL4 regulation or certification. So we do provide this cluster system as well as API. Provide both Android and Linux. Actually, Android is actually more popular than Linux, I have to say, although I mentioned about AGL. But Android also have their own problem. So the problem is similar to smartphone, because smartphone vendors have this love-hate relationship with Google. So it's car makers, especially for car makers. They do not want to be controlled by anyone. They're always in control, even in these days. So Linux needs to catch up. So later we see there's something need to be fixed for Linux. And build upon that is a middleware, which actually we think is more crucial than the underneath OS per se. Is middleware. Actually, that's the one interface with the developers. Actually, that's how developers, mostly developers, cares about. And that's why I will introduce a little bit more, if I have time, about KANZI, which we acquires early this year. It's a Finland company doing UI, fancy UI stuff. Actually, it's also a good, interesting thing to think about it. Actually, we know KANZI almost for 6-7 years while they are doing smartphone and tablet. At that time, we think that there's no market at all. Actually, it is no market for them. But once the smart car comes into life, and then both, especially us, see value. That's why we acquire them, although they are losing a lot of money. But we hope we can get more money later together. We will. Okay, so that's it's not architecture, but it's actually the major pieces we provide to the car makers. And the hardware, we work on Qualcomm, Renesas, TI, Freescale mostly, and then a bunch of other sensors and MCUs as well, like NFP or ST.
What do you use as the hypervisor solution?
Actually, as I mentioned, so QNX has the hypervisor. We use that mostly, Greenhill, our customer also use Greenhill, we support that as well. So that's true. Actually, later, for the next slide, we'll see. These things also need to be fixed. We're looking for some open source hypervisor. I know you're working on, Linaro working on some ICL4. I'm not sure that's a good way, but
yeah, actually, just to clarify that was slightly incorrect.
Okay.
Right? So, but there's a session later today when I'll try and clarify that. I do have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Q&A, right? Or Greenhill's integrity, whatever you use over there.
Yeah.
So I think the real reason you're using them is because they're well established and
Yes.
you have someone accountable, right? So you can go and pay the money and you get the qualification.
Yeah.
So if you had an open source version that gave you that, would you use it?
No, our customer will not do that. I don't know, maybe just our customer.
Do you know why?
Because it's running the cluster, so it's effective life. That's our thinking. May not be true, but our customer cares about the safety. Still, even in China, so we care about this cluster. So actually, there's one case. It's not really correct. Actually, we did one demo for one Japan customers using Zai XEN. They're still doing this prototyping stuff. They're working on that because they do not want to be controlled by Greenhill.
Okay, so let me just put it slightly differently, right? So
Yes.
if there was an open source separation runtime, open source, that had qualification for the standards that matter,
Yes.
do you think you would use it?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but the question is who will pay for that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We might be. We think it's a good approach. Actually, it's also demanded by some customers for open hypervisor. It's going to be open, but the question is, who's best guy to support that? Is the chip vendors? They're doing that actually, or the internet vendors like Google or I don't know, Ali, or maybe a neutral group like Linaro, or we believe the last one would be the best choice. But if I have time, I can explain more. But okay, so this is challenges and opportunities. A lot of things to talk about, but I only focus on some of these things. So car need to be faster, not just run faster, but boot up faster and develop faster. Very important, and they need to be more stable with all these new features comes in, and all these tens of millions of code comes in. Need to be stable. And need to be smarter, and with all this ADAS inference, and also need to be scalable, because all these different architecture, you have to deal with them. Of course, security, everybody's talking about that. We see nothing yet. So we want to understand more actually also. And also need to be easier for developer and the user, more connected, and most importantly, actually it's prettier. I know a lot of hackers here. We used to be hackers, we hate to program UI. But in order to make money, you have to do that somehow, do it right. It's actually also very difficult. And since the time limited, I only focus on key points like run faster. So there's not much trick, mostly trick. We play more like the know-how and all these tricks like preloading or delayed loading or parallel and all these things. But here's the result we achieved, and we can boot up the system free scale like 4.5 seconds to the launcher. And Qualcomm and TI is a little bit takes more time, and this is something we did on Qualcomm low-end stuff. Around 10 seconds. We can also do 7-8 seconds. Wi-Fi will take longer. Bluetooth may take a little bit longer, but at least you can get the launcher right. And here's something I would like to highlight is this suspect disk. Because our customer demands sub 1 second boot up. We cannot do this using all this traditional way. That's the tops we can go. If you have more tricks, we certainly want to learn. But suspect disk is probably the only solution we're looking for. But the problem is currently our internal try is only 80% functioning, which means we only pick up correctly about 80 out of 100 times, 50 times. So it's a problem. Anyway, okay, so you need to also run this thing faster. So this is I don't know how to audio here, but in Chinese anyway. So this is something is Baidu. You know, if you know it, actually about 1 or 2 months, Baidu announced a self-driving car. The driving in Beijing actually is illegal to do that, and so they're driving this anyway, and our government seems fine of that. And so you can see a little bit this. It's actually HMI, not HUD, but later will be HUD, the second version. So this is what we did together with Baidu, and underneath the engine is Bosch, from Bosch, for all this ADAS stuff. And so we actually project this result to this HUD. In that case, it's actually a tablet. And there's a lot of things need to be implemented, even for that upper layer. For example, to lower the latency and to draw this correctly. And but that's shows something that what's going on within China in Baidu, what they're doing and what is happening. And there's also something need to be improved. Okay. So for that is we call this AR-HMI. Actually, the second version we're working together with Baidu is AR-HUD. So a lot of component process and you need to handle. We are taking from here, and here is taken by a board or Baidu itself. So you need to deal with the camera tuning and also sometimes the 2 cameras. You need to do real-time stitching. You need to do some real-time drawing, and also align with the real data together with the processed analyzed data. So a lot of details to get this right. So
you're over time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the next session has already started.
Oh, sorry. So I can wrap this up. Oh, sorry. It's already overtime. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I will wrap this up. There's a second session, right? Okay. All right. I will jump to the last slide then. So the challenges. So as I mentioned, we need to boot up this thing faster. So we need a substantial disk. We're looking for some open source solution or whatever to solve that. And we need the open hypervisor and open RTOS. It's not happening. Whether it comes from Cell 4 or Magenta or some others, we can discuss. So the third, since there's many screens in the car, just getting more and more systems. This system need to talk to each other, and the display and control. Maybe you're controlling here and display somewhere there. And currently there's no standard. So KANZI provides this KANZI Connect, so that as a developer you can easily program and without having to worry too much about whether the control is running in this display or that one. Actually, we think that's a good approach, and we're hoping the open source community and also especially Qt to catch up also, because Qt is still a good choice for Linux, but Qt is really behind this, and also for the UI effect. And then ADAS and upgrading for I think there's also a session about OTA, and we have OTA, and we're also improving the security on top of that. But again, the spec is not fully fixed yet, so there's an issue. Multimedia is a big issue, but from time being, we already solved some audio stuff. Many audio sources, you have to do it right. More complicated than a smartphone. So this thing need to be handled, and we do not see much problem there. And the last one will be security, the certification. We need EAL, at least EAL4 certified artists or Hypervisor. So, okay, so that's my talk. So if you have any questions, I will be I think it's overdue. So I would like to have the card with me, and I'm around all day. So feel free to reach me. Thanks.